Greetings everybody, EDHB, also thank you for redeeming first metal. So, today, allow me to explain what I am doing. So, as you can see over here, I have a bunch of different references of a specific flower, the Dahlia coquinea. And so, actually added some layers to it last night. And changed the background, of course. Yes. Thank you for the 30 streak. Also, hello, Edis. That's how long you've known me. Slightly longer than that, I suppose. How many streams? Yeah, 30, I believe. Or like 32 or something. Yeah. Nope, 30. Yeah. But anyway, I am going to copy and paste this. Actually, gone. You'll be lurking now? Understandable. Enjoy your lurks. And now I can copy, paste. I am going to transform this and flip vertical. And we move this down. No. I don't think that would really work. Also, let me go quickly take my Vyvanse. My Vyvanse has been consumed. So I'm using this curve tool. To draw all of the teeth here. To change well. So this is the icon. Now I am going to go ahead and start on the placement. Is gonna be something like this. And I'm gonna do something like this. So I believe I'm going to use this flower as a reference or thing. Now I am going to switch to this red. Also, yeah. Go ahead, remove that icon square. Well, not really remove it, but hide it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blossom. Seven and 8. And now, yeah, I am on the correct 10. So, after I do this, I'm gonna start planning out a PNG model for my Skyrim streams because apparently Skyrim doesn't really like me having both VBridger and VTube Studio up along with the game. So I might have to switch to a PNG model specifically for those streams. Because of course I have to. Now let's save this. Got to down that real quick. Also, I plan on having some of these buds there as well. Do that real quick. That looks like a strawberry. Oh look, a strawberry. So I'll do this here as well. Then here will be another blossom. X. And now I just clarify the end shape to look more like the petals of the dahlia flower. And erase certain parts so it's more clarified. Also, there's like a mini convention that's happening like in my area, but I was just like, I'm not gonna do it. I don't feel like doing that. But yeah. I'll delete this since it doesn't really matter for this one. Actually, these lines that kind of like define the shape in the dahlia. But yeah. But anyway, there is, yeah. This, and for the lower 5. So I'm almost fully done with all the sketching. Then I think I'll place here. A shitty initial drawing, but this will be the most detailed one. At least I'm probably gonna try and make it the most detailed one. Also, let me put this at 25% opacity. Then gonna make this one purposefully have a cut, because Dahlia has a scar. It's like very noticeable on her face. And a bunch of emotional scars, but that are more invisible. Of these. And that is done. I am going to go take a small break before I choose to do any more of these. Let's see, because I, wanted to take a small break for my hand arm before I get started on the line art. I think I'll actually start ads a little early so I can do my break, then immediately get back to the drawing. So I'll start ads now. So in a few minutes. Get up and stretch. Go with me. start. The ads have already started. Yeah. Ads are done. I'll go ahead and do sign art. Break. Do the value. Get on something else. That's for the PNG model. Because, like I have to do for my Live 2D models, I have to draw some of the stuff separate. Partially tempted to use the new character I'm making for my next. But since y'all know this character the most, especially those of y'all who haven't been here since the beginning, I think I'll use Ashlyn. So it is tempting to use Patchouli for the model. But I think I'm gonna wait until I have and the dance, because you're being fricked into the legal contract. From when I followed, I'll have to live in this chat. Hello, Mr. Furk. I hope you are doing decently. We put this at 75% opacity. Now this. Actually, it looks a little inconsistent here. That's because I didn't use a circular tool in order to draw this. Let's thicken up some of this line. Also, I have made significant progress on the new model, which I probably should even be working on until I've been using the wrong layer this whole time. Let me lock these real quick. But anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Right. Model. So I still have some of the... I still need to work on the 2.0 update. But there are some things that I'm likely gonna have to redo, such as the eyelash physics. Because for those who couldn't tell, I messed up a bit of the draw order for it, so now it looks a little weird. Well, it has looked a little weird for some time. I also wanted to redo certain things and add things. You know, I plan on adding more physics to the hair. As an example. Because the current physics on my hair is a little lackluster. Like, it's way better compared to my first Live 2D model, but I know I can do better. But anyway, I'm going to yap a little bit about what's going to happen next week. So, for context, I accidentally scheduled 9 streams in a row. So, luckily, because I actually have an appointment on next Thursday, because this Thursday I had to go to PT. And I go to PT every 2 weeks. Like every other week. That gives me a small break between streams. So instead of like 9 days straight, it's gonna be like 5 streams, 1 day off, as I do my physical therapy. And then the final 3 days of the are going to be uninterrupted, hopefully. I have to check my calendar. Of course, but we'll do all that. Hey, do you Max? Magda is very comfy. She's a comfy little baby. Go ahead, add an outline. Also, I replaced the nib for my stylus. For stream. Now this. Picking up outline. Now a little water break. Now I work on the final one. I think I'll go ahead and use an ellipse. Actually, let me make that smaller. And this. The veining. Checking out this outline. I think I'm gonna go get started on another thing. So I have to do this. Which going to do then I'm going to thicken up parts of it, and then the line art will be done. And yeah. It has been sufficiently thickened up. Merge that down and actually gonna use a darker color. Go over here. Now I gotta go do some corrections to the values. Once this is done, I'm not going to start on the PNG model just yet, because I plan on doing some stuff for the project I'm planning on working on over my spring break, so that I can, you know, get it done. Which is to say, I plan on starting the bulk of it now. I'll try and make sure that I have, you know, the paint part recorded. Because I want to have that as proof that I, you know, did all of it on my own. And, you know, didn't use a yucky AI in order to do it. I'll use this one. Yeah, the project I plan on doing is gonna involve a lot of, like, experimentation with, you know, rendering. Because I plan on doing a bunch of rendering things with it. Now, the values for the center. Which I'll do this for the inside of the mouth. And this will be for the teeth. I think that is done. I'll save this and then save as PNG. So that is done. And we still have some time left before the intermission. So I think I'll briefly do one of the things I plan on doing for the project that I have been working on. Which, I'm gonna see if I actually have a file. Okay. It appears I do not. But let me stretch out me bow. Oh, I think I pulled a muscle in my calf. Ooh. Air. Yeah. So back on Thursday, when I was, working on, when I was at PT, they gave me a new exercise, which I basically had to do like a sort of a lunge position with something that kind of like elevated one of my feet and one of my legs. I was kind of like kneeling on that. My other leg was straight. Then for like a minute, I had to hold a heavy ball. I had to lift it up and down from the top of my head. And then after a minute, I had to switch to the other foot and then do that again for another minute. Which, that was very exhausting. But I mentioned to the PT who was working on me that it was honestly a pretty good exercise for, an artiste. Because, it's always good to make sure you have the shoulder strength and shoulder stamina in order to draw. Anyway, I'm gonna go save this in my art assignments folder to the creative project. And for anyone wondering, Skelly, what are you doing with this? It's simple. I am making a window. For anyone wondering why a window, it's honestly kind of simple. I want to have some assets for the project done beforehand so I could just copy and paste it from another layer and then do all the, alterations I have to do. And also because I want to reference my window in my room. Which I'm actually gonna make it relatively small. I'm gonna gesture it. Actually, I'm gonna go acquire a reference real quick. Window. Alright, that is a good reference. So, actually pretty similar to the one I have in my room. Let me go ahead and do some of the line art for it. Actually, I think I'll make it a vector layer. Just do that first. Then I'll copy and paste it. Wait, no. Duplicate layer. Then I can make it smaller. Which alignment object. And for anyone wondering why I'm using a vector, it's because it keeps the line sharp when I distort it. It's honestly that simple. And of course, one of the many things that I see in the Windows is, of course, Windows 11. Is the OS I'm currently using, even though I hate it and I had to upgrade to it against my own will. Honestly, what can I really do about it anyway? But I'm going to add this. So wait. Yeah, let me go and yeah, no. Right. Now I can remove some of the vector points. Over here. And this will make things significantly easier. Also, I'm gonna go do something real quick. That. But there we go. But yeah. Oh, Ferky here. Yes, Ferk is here. So I think now I need to add a shape here. Which I'll do this. This and this. Then I can connect the vector lines. And that can be done. Go back to lurking. Understandable. Enjoy your lurky lurk. Anyway. So I just realized that is probably okay. Yeah, ads are gonna start soon. And there is another thing that I want to do for this, which is that I want to make do the vectors for certain other things. For the, assets. Things I'll be using throughout. But I might also check the asset store if there's like a free window asset that I could use. Because that might help me a lot with, figuring out what I need to do. But anyway, as I've started, so I'm gonna start the intermission. See y'all in a bit. I might select this, maybe do that. Just do that. That's kind of like a fairy thing. I think I can consider that part done. But I'm actually gonna go close that. Gonna go into my VTuber stuff. I'm probably gonna reference this, but I don't remember if I actually had. Okay, I have this. Which is, of course, the 2.1 editions. But I'm wondering why it looks like a biblically, Yamsoke biblically accurate. That's because these are the toggles. You can even see this bubby over here. Wait, hold on. You can see this bubby. Yeah. I know I do need to work on other things related to my pet model, but make a new thing. And this is going to be the size. It's 3000 pixels by 3000 pixels. Alright, I'm going to start off with the purple. Use my sketch pen. I'm actually gonna go and start sort of small. A bit of a gesture. Okay, let me make that bigger, because this is a pretty big file size. And I plan on referencing this illustration that I'm using for my header. I'm actually gonna make it sort of chibi. Or chibi-esque. I'll go save this in my YouTuber stuff. I'll erase something. I am probably going to reference the 2.0 outfit for this. Well, the 2.1 outfit for the specifically. And I don't know if I'll like just cut it off over below before the hips. I'll probably end up doing anyway. This is just meant to be a gesture. And not to mention that I'm honestly never going to do this thing that I did over here with the hair in any of my next models ever again, unless it's for this character. Because I think this is like a little too much detail in such a small space. Do I like it? Like the detail I was able to add here? Yeah, but it's a little annoying for artists, like, you know, other artists. Because I have drawn this character a lot, so I am used to all the detail. But when I, you know, commission someone, I know they're going to struggle with all the detail. Which is why for the next VTuber Shenanigans OC I have, of her hair doesn't have this. I don't really have anything where, you know, all of the things are kind of like combined. Like in every asset with a, you know, hair color change, the separate colors are in different parts. They're different meshes. So that if I, for example, want to make a redeem where you can change like the purple to pink or something, you can easily do that without having to like make a completely new mesh. Which makes it more possible to do some silly toggles. Yes, I plan on adding as much detail to this model as I can. As you know, related to certain things. But I'm gonna add some other details. Also, there is something related to the next model that I am doing. I did post it into my own Discord, but I posted it in several other ones, and people have seemed to like it. At least they added like heart reactions to it. But it's kind of like this. This is the new VTuber or OC that I'm making for my streaming. I still have yet to work on her lore, but I'll probably like make a new master list on my Tumblr for a writing blog for some of the VTuber lore I've made, so that there's an easy place to access it. Also, I just realized I need to log into AO3. to Bad Gateway. We go log in. Let's go to... Alright. So the last pick I posted there has 11 kudos. Which it's been up for like nearly 2 weeks. That makes sense. And one that I posted video last year has 63 kudos, 4 bookmarks, and 596 hits. And that fic, I'd like to mention, actually made someone find out that they might have a condition that affects their uterus. But yeah, I really like the way that I did this one. I really like the hip dip I did over here and some of the thigh squish. Which I ended up realizing that I accidentally added a modification to this part of the outfit that I originally did not have, so I have to kind of change that. Which I plan on trying to do it as a similar thing to what I did for this, model for the shirt here. Because I'd like to mention that the current shirt that my VTuber is wearing here, if I go to this, y'all can tell it's kind of tucked into the pants over here. You can see the bottom of it if I raise up the thing. But if I look up, but hold on. That. But what I did in the art mesh there is of course the front part that you see. But then there is a part that it kind of like shows the back. It actually doesn't cover the whole entire back of the torso, just the part that I feel is going to end up being visible. It is shaded and all that stuff. But Yeah. Go ahead, add a tail. Over here. Which I really wanted to eventually work more on it on stream. But I think, I don't know. Also, something I want to do eventually in the future is I want to start commissioning more artists in order to, do certain illustrations of some of my characters. Because even though I like drawing stuff for my characters in my own style, sometimes I feel like getting art of the characters I've made in someone else's style. So I've been doing quite a bit of scrolling on VGen and stuff for that. And also because I want to add more emotes, but that are, animated. And there's like, if I go to VGen, I actually have a list of, I have 4 different emotes and stuff. And I wanted to kind of look at. There are some that are kind of cursed. But then there is, like, the first one I saved is just explosions. Yeah, I just thought it would be kind of funny. Do that. But for, the novel I'm writing, I might, get other artists to do some art. Based on certain parts of the book. Maybe even commission a few artists to draw all the cat species that I made for the story. Because of course I would. Of course I need to find an artist who can draw cats in a way that I'm just like, yeah, I really like the way you draw cats. May I pay you to draw some cats? Of course I need to actually start making more of the reference sheets for the actual, like, the original cat species, because I have yet to actually do that. I have forgotten to do that. Because of course I did. I am who I am. I am the kind of person who hyperfixates on a video game, forgetting to drink water. Then I act shocked when my head starts hurting. Because I am chronically dehydrated. And that's why I have 2 separate hydrate redeems. Which I actually might add a few more sound-based. No. A few different sound-based themes. Also add a few more to the, you know, now, things that you can redeem for biddies. Because I personally think it's a little more whimsical. But if I have, things that you can spend your biddies on instead of just straight up just doing the biddies. And nothing really happening other than, like, game that I was going badoop. Do this. Hello, Chopperine! How you doing, dude? I am working on a gesture for a PNG model, which I should probably go and grab the reference sheet that I made for this. That's nice. Yeah. The reason I'm making a PNG model is because Skyrim has a tendency to kind of bork itself if I have both, VTube Studio, VBridger, which I use for my tracking, and with, my browser and Streamlabs up. So I'm kind of annoyed by that because I have to use my Discord reactive in order to have something on the screen to represent me. So I was eventually just like, you know what, I think I'll finally go ahead and make a PNG model. That I can, have something on the screen. As I am, yapping my head off. This is kind of like just an idea for the, art. But for this, of course, I'm gonna separate a bunch of these things. So that it, nice. Also, ads are starting soon, so I'll have to stop while that happens. Yes, I hope you're doing well. And that. Actually, is this placed? Okay, I set a little too high. No, and get bigger as well. Yeah, I wanted to add some other details to this. Now, erase that thing, because that was where the tail was originally gonna go. Anyway, ads have started. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. Wait for ads to be over. Then I'll return to working on the model. Which... Close some of that out. Also, next week I mentioned this earlier in stream, but next week I plan on doing a one stream per day during the week. So from the 7th to 13th, I will be doing a bunch of streams. So I would like to mention that I think on the 13th, I believe. Yeah, the 13th, I will not be live because I have, you know, an appointment that I have to do. So let me just cross that out real quick. I'll also have to delete it from the schedule. Well, because, of course, I have to. I gotta go do that real quick. Settings, panel, schedule. Yeah, I have scheduled streams all the way until May 3rd, which I'm actually temporarily gonna add vacation mode. Is gonna start May 4th. And on May 8th. And for anyone wondering why that is because I wanted to take a break between when my semester ends and I, you know, return to my usual streaming stuff. And the main reason is because of the time I have to get up in order to do a bunch of my class stuff. Which, for those who don't know, like if you haven't been here all that often, or or this is your first time here, or you haven't really seen me since who knows when. I started streaming a few months before my first college semester. So I've been doing streaming for about as much time as I've been in college. And this was because I wanted to have some sort of structured thing I wanted to do when I, am not in classes and stuff. That helps me feel productive. So I do this. And as for extra context, I am also a full-time student. And one of my classes, like my in-person class for the semester, aka my only scheduled class, I have to get up at 11 in the morning. Which, for those who don't know me, I usually wake up at 12. I wake up at noon. Which is what I usually do. Like when I usually get up, then after I spend an hour like doing stuff like eating food and the like, I then get started on either my streams, or if I'm in a semester, I get started on assignments. And because of the fact that my scheduled class happened at like 12:30, I have to get up an hour and a half before that, so I have time to get to class on time because I live about half an hour away from the campus. Which can be very annoying if there's like traffic and stuff. But because of that, I have to, get up pretty early. I've had classes where I've had to wake up at 8 in the morning before. Luckily, those were completely virtual, and I'd end up just so tired. I'd immediately go back to sleep and end up waking up at like 3 p.m. or even 5 p.m. Sometimes I'd wake up when the outside is dark. Like completely dark. And I end up realizing, oh shit, I ended up wasting away pretty much the entire daylight asleep. So I usually try to have classes in the afternoon so that I, don't have to end up being so tired during class. That's, why I do all my, class stuff for my classes in the afternoon. It's basically because I, literally have stopped being capable of being a morning person after graduating from high school. Like, once I graduated high school and no longer had to get up at 6 a.m., my body was just like, you're gonna be an afternoon person now. That's why I think I wouldn't be able to survive a 9 to 5. Anyway. So, because of the fact that I've had to change a lot of my schedule around due to my class starting later than the others, Because I wanted to take a week-long break, at the very least, in order to start getting used to waking up at 12 o'clock again. Modify this pinky a little bit. Yeah. That is pretty much why I am taking a week-long break after my classes end. It's so that I can, recover from, having to wake up at like 11 or 11:30 in order to do my assignment. Which is a little annoying, but I've been able to manage. But unfortunately, because of the time that I stream, and the fact that my in-person classes are on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's a little hard to wake up on Mondays for my classes. And while I could just switch my, streaming schedules from my Sunday streams to Fridays, I don't want to do that. I've already scheduled them. I'm out for the days that I did. I honestly don't really want to modify the schedule anymore. Or unless I absolutely have to. Because that's just something I don't want to bother doing. So I'm gonna do that middle seam for the pelvis. And I'll go ahead and make this bigger. I think you got an open because your phone is getting pretty hot. Understandable! We'll go ahead. It would be a very bad idea if your phone overheats. Go do what you need to do for the rest of the day. And I'll hopefully see you next time. I'm Metal. Yeah. So, for certain things, I am, of course, going to draw some of these separate. Like, for example, because the hair is, kind of in the face, just a little bit, I might have the front bang and the actual, eyes be separated, of course, but also, I don't know. But something's going to involve a lot of layering. Which, let me go ahead and look at the eye reference. Here. Which, this is meant to look a little more chibi compared to the model I'm currently using right now. Now I shall work on the other one. So, for anyone wondering what the reason behind the two different eye colors in a single iris, it's because I wanted to... It's something I actually have added to one of my other character in a story that I haven't really worked on in several years. Her name is Edelnacht, and she has this similar eye thing going on. It's referred to as secular heterochromia, because instead of just completely different eyes that have completely different colors from each other, the eye colors are both in the same eye. Sometimes only one eye is affected, sometimes it is both. But I thought it would be an interesting thing and be a little unique compared to all the other VTubers who have heterochromia. Of course, I'd like to mention that my new model does not have this. The eyes are just all pink, which originally I made them teal, but eventually I was just like, this doesn't really contrast all that well with the rest of the hair and stuff, because there's, you know, teal and purple in the eyes. So I ended up being just like, you know what? I think I'll just change the eye color to pink. I liked it way better. So now her eyes are pink. Of course I gotta change that for some of the reference sheets that I have. For the character that I'm making. Because of course I have to. So this was like a decision I made a little spontaneously. But I also have some other things that I plan on doing with that character as well. Like, I actually plan on doing some proper marketing stuff for that a character, because for certain aspects of her, I actually have to explain certain things. You know, related to world building for her world, because she's not actually based off anything specific. She isn't based off something like dragons or fairies like Ashlyn is, but she still has a bit of like a mystical element to her. Like, she is kind of reminiscent to the Fae a little bit, but not by much. But let me go ahead and turn to this. I can hear my brother being brother. Of course he is. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I probably need to make a stamp of the shape that I tend to use for these curls, so that I, you know, don't have to constantly draw them every single time. But that's probably gonna be something for future me to worry about and eventually forget about doing in the first place. Because I am who I am. But yeah. It is something I plan on doing eventually. Of course, I also need to make a bunch of other assets. Like, I might need to work on making a brush for my highlights. Hold on. Brother. I'm gonna go ahead. Continue working on this. I actually might do a little bit of messing around with this so that I can make it look a little more interesting. Also, so some parts are translated a little better. Yeah, as are starting in about 6 minutes. And along with that, the intermission. So I'll have to do the intermissione. But for now, I'm going to work on this. So once I am close to intermission starting time, I'll go ahead and start the intermission. Hopefully before ads start. And once that happens, I'll my break. No, I'll walk around my house a little bit. Then I can go ahead and continue working on this. Which some of the parts of the model here are going to be separated. Is to involve the hair and the like. Do that real quick. And this. Just a quick squiggle. Present some shading. Because that is a thing that I must do. So yeah. Have to do that. I'll add other details. Theme over here. And some of this extra detail is just for the sake of detail. Like, you know. But anyway, go ahead. add this little detail over here. And I'm gonna save and I'm actually gonna close this. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Return. What do you need? So, let's go back here. And I'm actually gonna... Go ahead and do this. Or the whole eye thing. So do this. Bitch. Ah. I'm gonna start doing some of these things in layers. Like separate them already. Which I'll do this for the open. And this will be for the closed. Let me move this up a little bit. And of course, for some parts of the bangs, they are going to be separated from one another. Or, you know, ease of animating. Of course, I don't think I'm going to work on the whole thing for today. I just want to get a sketch done. But I have a sketch. And I can easily do the line art, coloring, rendering, all that kind of stuff. So usually when I draw this character outside of the, model, I usually don't add this little thing here. I think for the sake of, trying to keep this as faithful to the Type 2D as possible, I'll add it just so it's there. Do the correction. And of course, I'm going to make this separate so that it can, bounce differently than some of the rest of it. And I actually might have the eyes in front of the bangs over here so that I can more easily draw them, well, more easily animate them with the bounce and all that. But yeah. Likely the first thing I'll draw here are going to be the eyes. Might do a version of the eyes where they're, looking in different directions, but I'm not sure. And I'm probably going to draw the arms separate as well. So this is once again going to end up being pretty complex compared to the rest of it. Like, especially compared to the Fugis that I've done for, some of my streams. Also, I think I'm going to replace tomorrow's stream from Skyrim to Little Witch in the Woods. And the reason why I'm picking Little Witch in the Woods is because I really want to work on it. I want to try and get closer to 100% with it. But yeah. Also, there is another thing that I might do. But there is something I need to purchase before I can really do that. Which is Emote Lab. Which allows you to kind of like modify a certain thing so that you can make your own emotes. It's like $8 and it's currently in early access, but I think it really has a lot of potential. So, at least for me. Because I honestly don't want to bother too much with trying to figure out how to draw certain emotes and how to animate them. Like, I might, of course, look up tutorials online for some of the more simpler ones. But I think it would be nice to have some more animated emotes. Which that I can use in my streams and just stuff like that. But yeah. Some of the flyaways over here are going to be drawn separately as well. Because I felt like wanting to do that. So, yeah. Now, add some details. Also, I might separate the veins here so that they can also bounce as well. Like, I might draw all the head parts separate. But I'm not fully sure what to do with all that. So let me go ahead and add that. Nearly forgot about it. So which, let me go look at the model ear real quick. Which... The... This... And that. Maybe I can add a piercing or something. Or I'll at the very least add this. Or like a little scar here. Get a little hole where the piercing goes. Also, something else I've been doing a lot of is, of course, a bunch of things for my classes. But something I ended up doing unintentionally is that I'm actually getting certain things done ahead of time. Like, for example, for some of the projects I have, they aren't due until after spring break. And I'm actually working on I was working on one of them over the weekend. No, not over the weekend, over this week. So that is one of many things I've been doing. But it's not actually due until like 2 weeks after the spring break. So I've been doing it, very early so that I just don't have to bother with it after a while. So I basically it was what I was technically planning on working on, like last art stream, I believe. But I ended up realizing, oh, I can't actually use my own art for this. So I had to find a bunch of art online. Luckily, the minimum amount I have to do for it is 3. So, 3 total pieces I have to then do an analysis for. So, one of them has been done. Now there's just 2 more that I have to do. And then I can submit it, which I'm planning on doing the project next week, which is before my spring break. So, before my spring break, I plan on working on all that. Then once I'm done, I don't have to worry about that, and after my spring break is done, and I will have way less things to do for that class. Which is, if I'm thinking correctly, it's gonna be stuff like the rest of the quizzes and the final exam. Also, ads are starting soon, so I'll have to stop yapping after a bit in order to let the ads go. Once ads are done, I'll return to what I'm doing. Anyway, ad break has started, so I'll go ahead and take a break. And I'll see y'all after the break is done. Yeah. We're more than halfway done with stream. And yeah. once ads are done, I'll return to arting. And of course, I'll eventually have to end stream. But yeah. I add a bit of shading related to hair and stuff as well. I know I have to eventually render stuff for this. Also, welcome back from ads. I'm gonna go actually add some shading for the veins over here. Because of course, I must do that. And eventually I'll blur all that. And blur. Put in a folder for the open one. Which I'll then reduce the opacity, turn to the black, try to avoid accidentally doing that again. Get to your scar over here. Because of course, add the score and color of the lips. And this is the color for the teeth shading. Go ahead. I think that that looks pretty decent. I'll add the tongue as well. Nah. I think it looks a little better without it. Now, go ahead and use 8. Hold on. I think this looks good. So for anyone wondering what I'll be using the PNG model for, basically in case my Live 2D model isn't really functioning all that well with the game, I'll get the PNG model. Or like, I just feel too low energy to really be expressive with the model, I still want to stream. And that's also when I'll do the PNG model jail. So now I'm gonna do this. And I'm just using the curved line tool to make this easier on me. Because I, don't want to spend a bunch of time having to correct all the eyelashes. That would be a bit annoying to have to do for like a bunch of time. So I'm doing it here, the curve tool. Then I sharpen and define certain parts. Make certain parts a little pointier. Now, do all the erasing. And redefine certain lines. But yeah. Now let's add the color. And now color. So this is now the current state of the PNG model. I think it looks pretty nice so far. But I think I'm gonna add something here. Actually, no, I don't think I'm gonna do that. Yeah. So again, this is done. I think I'll probably add the horns a little later. I'll probably continue working on this over spring break as well. So during the... So I have 1, 2, 3 total. Oh. Actually, wait. I didn't have any streams for the 14th or 15th. Or... So, I think I'll turn off all the toggles. And then I'll start working on the body. actually do this. And right here. Over there. Now, race. That and that. And this. Now go ahead and grab. Okay, I believe that is the color. I think I'll also do this as well. And shading. No preliminary. And additional shading. Get started on doing that. And fill it out. And I believe I can do some of the blur. As well. Now let's look at this compared to the head. Looks pretty nice so far. And now add the color. Also, my plan is to eventually add the highlights and stuff. The rim lights that I usually do for my art that I do for the models. So I'll do something like that. Head for the line. Let me just trace some of this first. Then I'll do this. 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 Then this. Go ahead and do that. So that it looks a little more consistent. Not as wobbly. No wobbly wiggly. And this. We put that as a smaller size. And I think this is pretty good. You do some of the rendering things that I usually do with the lines. Oops. Just this. That. And of course, I still need to do the big diamond shape over here, which I'll make a line here surrounding it. Then I'll fill it out so that it is unimpeded. Which I'm actually gonna go do a vector layer. I'm actually gonna go do something like this. See, let me make it. Edit. Transform. Vertical. Then the copy, paste, transform, make it smaller. Then can go ahead. See over. And I'm gonna go ahead. And once I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and run the advertisements. That is done, I believe. Let's masterize. And delete that ruler. Put it down here. And I'll be seeing y'all in a few minutes. I need to do a little bit of corrections involving the line here. And let me do that line. All right. Now I'm going to that. And that. There we go. Now I just need to do the rest of the bottom part. So the hips and the dike. But yeah. That'll be what I'll do next. Now go ahead. This. Now let's make this dip a little smoother. Now I'm going to add this here. Then I think I'm gonna add a little bit of a here. I like add a bit of depth to it. And add shading. Parts. Increase the opacity of the line. I can work on the shading. Oh. That was a bit of an oopsie. Quite an oopsie indeed. Yes. Try that. Then I'll do this. I didn't realize I put that color for that on the wrong layer. That is quite an oopsie of a mistake to make. Anyway. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with a less intense color. For certain parts. And I will over here make it a little more intense. Now add the color. to do this as well. Paste. But yeah. Add an extra bit of shading as well. Maybe to this part to make it look more in the background. But I think now I'm going to add a bit of highlight. Specifically, a bit of a rim light. I'll do with this over here. I'll add it to here as well. You just go ahead and this. Then I can blur. Now, what's the line color that I used for this, or did I just accidentally keep it black? Okay, it is that. Oh. Was wrong. Now let me go correct the color here. There we go. I think this looks pretty good.
And I gotta refresh my dashboard. The ad manager decided to hide itself from me.
But yeah. First we gotta go ahead and grab this. And I'll go ahead and start a little bit of shade over here. Go ahead and correct in this area. I probably should do after I do all the blurring, but eh. Do this as well. It'll show a little bit of depth with it. We do this. Now rim light. And yeah, looking pretty good. But I think I'm also gonna add a little bit of... Let me delete this. I'm gonna start off with how it was, and I'm gonna add this. This is gonna add a little bit of depth that it will really be good to have. Then I can go ahead and start blur. And there we go. Of course, I still need to do the hair and the tail and all that. Which I will do, of course. And I'm gonna... do that as well. But I think the first thing I should probably do is start should probably start working on the bang. Which, we go quickly make the flyaway. Because that is going to bounce separately from the others. And do all the usual line art stuff I do. That makes it look a little nicer. Yeah. I also have a project that I'm working on for my in-person class that requires me to use paint. Originally, I was tempted to partially work on the ideation sheet for it while live today, but I'm just like, I'll just work on it Monday when I have class. Which, go ahead and off all the sketches. Grab the red. Color. Now go ahead and start on some of the shading as well. I'm gonna use my favorite brush for shading the hair. Over here. Now, there we go. Let's do that real quick. 70% opacity. Now let's look at this. The rest of everything we currently have. So I'm probably gonna start off using the centermost bang for all of this. Because I don't know if I'm going to start doing anything else related to this. later after stream. I'm probably not. Also, I think tomorrow I'll definitely change the stream to like Little Witch in the Woods. I can make more progress on everything. Do that. And this is current progress once again. I'll eventually add the front and hair over here, but ads have started, so I must take a break. But yeah. So once stream is done, I'll probably spend some time recuperating and then figure out what I'll be doing tomorrow. I might do Little Witch in the Woods, but I'm also tempted to do Etrian Odyssey so I can finally 100% all the achievements and then uninstall it so I can be prepared for the next Etrian Odyssey. But I do need to finish Little Witch in the Woods eventually. So there's that. And Azarga and Priest. And welcome back. That was the final intermission of today's stream. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on some of this. Anyway, believe that is done. Go ahead and do this. And I'll go and work on this one. I will once again use now finish it up. Right? Now I'll start off with that. Then do this. Then now I do that. Then I color the line. And I think that would be considered done. Yeah. I'm actually gonna do a little bit of this stuff. For this. Do this. Yeah, I think for the week of spring break that I have, I'm going to like dedicate most of it to working on that creative project I have. At the very least, working on the first part of it. And then I can work on the second part, which is, you know, the past artist. Because I need to gather more references for that part. Yeah. I should probably actually work on the open eyes. Which, let me... grab my pen. And I'm probably gonna do the eyebrows too, eventually. A bunch of ants in my room. They're driving me insane. Now, do this. Actually, it's anyway. Let's go ahead and work on the eyelashes over here. And the erase. I'm adding that. And this. Oops. Did not mean to do that. That. This. That. He did a bunch of erasing. And add the color for the eyelashes. So I don't have to worry about it later. And go ahead. Do this. And yeah. Right. Go word. But yeah. I'm also gonna go do some of the highlights as well. I'm gonna start off here. Let me correct that. Dogs are outside. Whatever was the I'll make sure to blur that out. Erase what escapes. Do the same here. You can also do the pupils. Quick. Fill it in. Then once I fill in the colors, I'll change the layer mode for the highlights to add glow. Wait, no. That was the wrong side. Purple is inward. Whoops. Now, pink. Now, add glow. 70%. Then do the line color for the iris. Okay, that's just the sketch. Now, a weaker highlight over here. And over there. And I think I'll work on the shade scene for this part before I start ending stream. Okay, it appears I lower the opacity of the pupil. Then who's that guy here? Really matter anyway. Now, blur, 70%, and do this. I think it's looking pretty nice now. But anyway, I believe this is going to be it for me today. I don't think I'm going to work on this later tonight, but I will do something. Then, yeah. I'll be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and recuperate from all the stuff that I did. But let me just show off progress. And of course, that. So, yeah. I think I'll be seeing y'all tomorrow. Unless something comes up and I can't stream. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Goodbye!